Today, we celebrate notable milestones in the history of the Ohio Chamber of Commerce, which through the years has been a true champion for Ohio business.
Oh, it's all gone by in a flash. There's so much to tell that I don't know where to begin or where to end.
Things were tough in the 1890s. Businesses collapsed, banks failed, and the stock market plunged. Unemployment rates in Ohio reached 50%. Homelessness increased. But several businessmen in Ohio answered this cry for help by forming the Ohio State Board of Commerce, which would be later named the Ohio Chamber of Commerce, with Mr. C.C. Burnett as their president. The board's mission was to support legislation that would improve business and Ohio's economy. In 1902, Civil War veteran Allen R. Foote oversaw the broadening of membership to include individuals, firms, and corporations. In 1904, a state highway department was created with funds to go toward road repair and construction. The Ohio State Board of Commerce was an early proponent of this important effort. To aid in our focus on tax issues, the National Tax Association was created to advance the theory and practice of public finance, including public taxing, spending, and borrowing. In the 1920s, as the Ohio Chamber of Commerce was restructuring, our 41st president's grandfather, Samuel P. Bush, served on the board. At that same time, Robert A. Taft, grandfather to Ohio's 67th governor, served on the Ohio Chamber's Ways and Means Committee. The Ohio State Board of Commerce became the Ohio Chamber of Commerce, or the OCC, in 1926. This reorganization would improve its impact and expand its reach, under the oversight of George Brinton Chandler. The establishment of state police happened in 1928, thanks to the Chamber, along with farmers, women's organizations, and business groups. In 1929, the All-Ohio Tax League was formed. 1932 saw the establishment of the Ohio Inter-Organization Tax Association, the Ohio Branch Citizens Reconstruction Organization, the Ohio Emergency Committee, and the Ohio branch of the Organization to Reduce Public Expenditures. In 1938, the Ohio Chamber of Commerce expanded through the Forward Ohio movement, which increased service to members while promoting better understanding between management and labor. In 1943, during the Second World War, the Chamber lobbied successfully for the relaxation of labor laws so women could work more than 45 hours per week to support the war effort. In 1956, funds were raised by the Chamber for the Taft Memorial Bell Tower in Washington, D.C. to honor Senator Rob Taft.
It's got some very interesting and I think significant statements that he made. About the importance of freedom, particularly, and free enterprise as well, which is, of course, a major goal of the chambers of commerce across the country.
In the 60s and 70s, the Chamber created booklets for students on the structure and functions of the Ohio state government. In 1969, the Chamber created a resolution to salute all who contributed to the success of the Apollo mission. An employee of the Ohio Chamber of Commerce since 1971, Joanne Davidson started out as a research associate and supervisor to the clerical staff, or as she puts it, a typist. As the Chamber continued to grow, so did her roles as she was promoted to finance specialist, then director of legislative services, and finally vice president of special programs. While moving up at the Chamber, she was also elected to the Ohio House in 1980, putting to work much of what she learned at the Chamber. Then in 1994, she became the first and only female Speaker of the House. Between 1983 and 85, we saved Ohio over $133 million by retaining the corporation franchise tax credit for investment in new machinery in the omnibus budget bill. Workers' compensation reform occurred between 1989 and 1994. The Chamber was able to save millions for Ohio employees.
Providing leadership has been critically important to the mission, and they've really stepped up to the plate repeatedly.
The 1990s was a huge time of growth for the Chamber. We celebrated our 100th anniversary, and we promoted Andy Dorrell to president. In addition, the elimination of the unemployment compensation surcharge saved Ohio employers $80 million.
Andy was a very judicious, careful, and cautious accounting type, even though he's a lawyer. We had to make sure that, we didn't exceed our budget, and we didn't. I was kind of surprised when I took a tour of the new facilities and saw that he put a shower in.
Andy's style has just been so inclusive, right? Not just with legislators, but with partners on the association side.
It's a darn good thing for the chamber that he's a better executive than he is a fisherman.
In 1996, the Ohio Chamber of Commerce moved to its first purchased headquarters at 230 East Towne Street. It provided great meeting and office facilities, but more importantly, it provided room for growth. Growth not just in the number of members, but also by expanding our endorsement process into the Ohio Supreme Court, and growth in the number of ways we work with other associations.
My time with the Chamber was wonderful. Every single day was fun and interesting. I loved working with our members. The business community is a great community, and it was a privilege to be able to work with them.
The Chamber of Commerce had a lot of impact during my days in the legislature. We were always interested in what their feelings were on a piece of legislation, good or bad.
But I was very pleased about that we could work together through both the issues that we shared and the issues that we disagreed upon.
To this day, the Chamber has thrived and grown to nearly 8,000 members, representing businesses large and small in cities and villages throughout the state. We continue to provide political expertise and have a strong history of credibility and influence.
And have been actively involved with the Chamber and have suggested to my clients that the Chamber is a good place, a good organization to belong to. And the Ohio Chamber brings all interests together and represents them.
I think the Chamber is important because it brings both small business and large business views in terms of policymaking. And with it, they bring experience.
It's about having a voice. It's about making sure that business and all of the wonderful things that Ohio businesses make and create for Ohioans and for the world.
The Ohio Chamber of Commerce has achieved many recent victories as it has championed tort reform, the reduction of state business taxes, the simplification of municipal taxes, the redevelopment of brownfields, and many other issues. The Chamber has also led the charge in electing pro-business legislators and Supreme Court candidates who don't legislate from the bench.
I loved what we did in the political arena, and one of the things that I'm most proud of in all of the things that I worked on with the Chamber is our Redesigning Ohio report. That was a report that we did with the Metropolitan Chambers of Commerce across the state.
This anniversary year has been exceptionally busy as we became active in combating Ohio's opioid crisis by introducing our opioid toolkit, launched our very first image campaign, Ohio Businesses, Good for Life, and moved our headquarters to the historic Columbus Dispatch Building directly across the street from the State House, all during an election year. The work done by the Chamber continues to fulfill its mission. As the state's leading business advocate and resource, the Ohio Chamber of Commerce aggressively champions free enterprise, economic competitiveness, and growth for the benefit of all Ohioans.
And they were really a strong, effective, trusted advocate for the legislature back in the 1970s and still today.
And the Chamber has always been looked to as a strong voice for Ohio's business community. And not only a voice, but more importantly, it's been a leader. It's been a leader on key issues that matter.
I think it's important that the Chamber continue to lead in terms of anticipating the future. And we have to make sure that we have the proper infrastructure, either through legislative or regulatory means, to support the growing and changing economy and attract more to it. And that our members share with us where they'd like to go and how we can help.
across the board, the Ohio Chamber has made a big difference in policymaking in Ohio.
Had the privilege to work with very talented Ohio Chamber staff for almost 21 years, and certainly my relationship with Andy Dorrell is one that I very much treasure over the time that we worked together.
Endorsing the candidates, all sorts of things on the political side. Of course, advocating for key issues for the business community has been and always will be the hallmark of what we do, and there's been a lot of that over the last 125 years. I'm only here because I'm blessed to have good staff, and they've taken good care of me over the years, and we've had a lot of good people come through this organization, and I'm very proud of that. The future of the Ohio Chamber is nothing but going up. Moving on to Capitol Square, right, raises our presence even greater in the context of what we do on a day in and day out basis. And I see us becoming even more of a key player in the context of term limits that are now in place here in the legislature. You need a steady source of good information and background, and that's what the Chamber has been and always will be. And last, I'd like to put a special thank you out there to Joanne Davidson. Everyone knows what a unique individual she is, and I'm very pleased to be able to call her a friend.
Hey, I just want to take a few minutes to congratulate you on 125 years of being active here in the state of Ohio. You know, I remember back in 2010 when the Chamber decided to endorse me for governor, believing we could turn this state around. And fortunately, everybody working together, and we've seen quite a turnaround. We're up almost 560,000 private sector jobs. We've been able to reduce taxes, including kill the death tax, but we've also been in a position of where we've been able to make sure that people who are low earners also are giving a tax break as well. It's all been good. I feel like the state has come together. The Chamber's important. You need to make sure your voice is heard, the voice of business, so that as people in government make decisions, that they're aware of both the consequences and the help that could be involved in terms of making Ohio even better. So look, it's really, really cool. We just have to keep it going, and that this partnership between the Chamber, the government, decision makers, educators, that it remains intact. That's what's important, because Ohio is on its way up. I want to congratulate you and thank you for all the help that you've given us.